A Hellcat engine and a 350Z. Now, the reason I came across this video was I saw like 2 parts of it on TikTok where they was actually like first installing it and then they started drifting around in it. And I'm not gonna lie, putting a Hellcat engine in a 350Z, you're telling me that's not insane? I had to see this. I had to click on this video. As soon as it popped up on my feed, I was like, yeah, I need it. I need this. So let's go ahead and jump into it.
Go for it. Well, that's not great. Anyway, today's video is sponsored by Simply Safe because there's no safe.
You caught an ad first thing.
But somehow we were able to get it to run. We even managed to get it to fit, albeit with a little bit of minor modification.
Perfecto. That's pretty good.
So now it's finally time to put our creation to the test. Why you look so nervous? I'm not nervous. You look scared.
I know it's like not fully like.
Are you scared it's gonna blow up or not make any power?
Spec'd out yet, but
both.
Little orange.
What happened here?
I told you to put a twin turbos on this thing.
Is something wrong? On a serious note, you can smell those little rubber band stance tires he has on this thing roasting on the dyno, even at such a low power. So we're gonna try to air them down and hope that cures this issue. And by issue, I mean making 327 horsepower in a Hellcat Spot 350Z.
I don't know what to say about it.
This part.
Turns out, a little drop in air pressure will let us make a lot more power. That's better. That's pretty good. We're getting there.
Come on. Hellcat engine and a V. Imagine you see this motherfucker on the street, you try to line up with it and it.
It's 600? Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. I got a couple young niggas out that way. Might have to send them to go strike something for me, man. I don't know. Hey, that orange looking good, man.
I want to, but 600, I can't breathe now.
600 to the wheels too.
Yes.
That's an important distinction. I know we see all the gaudy numbers from Hellcats. What are they? 707. 600 to the wheels. Those numbers are crank horsepower numbers. With Rick from Big 3 Racing making a few final adjustments to the fueling, it was time for one last pull. 625 horsepower, 613 pounds of torque, and look at that graph. It's straight across from a really low RPM. This thing's gonna be a riot.
To be honest with you, it's 25 less than I would expect, but I'm happy. I will have to put this on a wall.
You're treating that like it's a college diploma.
It's my first dyno.
You gotta frame it. You gotta frame that.
Yes. Frame it, put it on the wall for a fresh build, especially a swap like this. 625, we're able to drive it back home. Really can't complain, gotta love it. We're able to drive it back home.
I don't know about that little
drive it
down
back
there,
home.
Oh, they fixed it.
I just break something. What is it? I don't know.
The wheels didn't even spin.
Not at all.
This seems familiar.
Yeah. You break something? Yes!
It's gotta be an axle, right?
Probably.
Axle, diff, something.
Yeah.
Well,
100%.
you know what they say.
What?
Mopar, no car, baby.
Oh, God. Slow that bit home. Did the axle snap?
Wow.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. So the differential mounting stud severed completely. The diff slammed into the exhaust. The exhaust might be the only thing that stopped this from dropping down further. Look at that, it's crushed. I got under here and at first thought it was only an axle, but I guess the action of the diff just completely and utterly failing popped the axle. Look at the front diff bolts. They're bent. The input flange of the differential, the drive shaft, that's up into the gas tank heat shield, though it's really hard to see past this exhaust.
Basically, we fixed
50% of the chassis from the engine to the middle, and now...
And because of that, because of the fixing up there, it destroyed the rear. Oh,
Jesus.
that's worse than I thought. Oh
Wow.
my God.
I think I lose
Oh
my
my
10
God.
horsepower with this.
Wow. So this is where an axle came down on it, I believe. It
And apparently my internet sucks.
flattened this whole section. This whole like pie cut, if you will, type area is just an oval now. But this side got it the worst. When the exhaust was in the car, I could only see where the corner of the diff went into this part of the exhaust on the side. It wasn't that bad. That's a problem. When we first looked at this, I wasn't really concerned about any type of exhaust restriction. It was a few dents, nothing to be too worried about. But the more I look at this thing now, that is some major restriction in there. I know it might be hard to see on camera, but that's pretty well collapsed.
Not gonna lie, that's
It's kind of weird that now I have to be fixing my cars a year.
I'm just glad it's not me for once. I do have to say that's a solid shaft. It held up.
What is wrong with the internet, bro? Yo, oh my God, bro.
For all that.
Wait,
Oh. When they make these drive shafts, what they'll do to them is weld little plates on them in specific areas to help balance them. I am almost certain that that's what was there. Otherwise, though, the drive shaft seems to have survived.
I think.
For the most
That's
part.
just going to pull right... Yep.
Do you think I need a new axle?
Likely. There is not much of this axle left. There's half of the cage inside of it, a few of the balls. Most of this stuff got left on that private closed course street in Mexico where he did that burnout. They were falling out as we were towing it away. Ironically, the actual axle shaft itself in this part of the joint looks okay. If we really wanted to, we could probably rebuild it.
This is the
No,
part
I
you're gonna
would
let
not
us
trust-
know
I
if
would not
we
trust
are
a rebuild
all
of
going
that.
south or we're gonna have lucky. Because if the subframe is damaged,
So the concern with the
Oh my God, bro.
subframe here isn't so much that back mount. I think we can work with that. The question we have is these front bolts, clearly they're bent, the washers are screwed up. Did it just bend the bolts, or did it screw up the differential mounting bosses on the subframe itself?
is it out?
It's out-ish.
No. Oh. Hey. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, this is a good sign.
Oh, I should have worn the safety squints a little earlier. Oh, we do have to unplug the wheel speed sensors.
At least it didn't get damaged.
It did. You just only cut one. There's one still intact, don't worry. That's heavy. As for the differential itself, this thing held up okay, which is ironic because it's the one part here that we didn't intend on reusing in the first place. We've just been waiting for a good time to change this thing out anyway because this is the original open differential.
I mean, on my defense, I was looking for the right opportunity to swap it, I guess.
You had to
here
go
you
through all
go.
this. This is the chaos that you had to create just to swap it. You know we could have done it. Like, it took us 30 minutes. One thing we can see on the diff, though, is what I believe is what started this whole chain of unfortunate events in the first place, the broken differential stud. Why these are designed with only one mounting stud in the rear, I truly don't know. We do have something in the works to remedy that, though, for the new one, so hopefully this doesn't happen again. It's almost like when they designed these cars, they didn't anticipate that a couple dumb Americans were going to stick a
Hellcat engine on it.
Hellcat engine in it 20 years later. I suppose we don't really have to be careful with this, right?
Not at all.
Hell no.
Oh.
Come on, do the thing.
He got. Yeah. Yeah. Cooked. Yo. Could you imagine? Okay. I know. Like, the regular Hellcats, just a stock Hellcat, of course it's gonna support it. But could you imagine like you doing a burnout and just a stock Hellcat and some shit like that happen, bro? Pissed. Word to I'd be pissed, bro.
I do truly believe that these front mounting provisions are perfectly fine. The threads don't look jacked up. You can see it's not threaded to a little bit further up in the subframe. There are these weird like insert type deals that sit inside the subframe. The subframe itself isn't threaded. On the back side, wow.
Okay.
Wow, the bushing itself, not that we didn't expect that, is completely ripped. Some of the provision to push that bushing into is cracked at the weld, though that's not necessarily catastrophic. It's certainly not good, but we might be able to get away without changing this rear subframe.
I'm happy about
I mean,
that.
Might.
Could be worse.
if you really wanted to be like perfect to where it never happens, I don't know.
Frankly, I'm more concerned, if not impressed, about the fact that this heat shield that protects the fuel tank took so much damage. The good news, though, is it didn't get through the heat shield. It didn't actually get into the tank. It could have been far worse. That's pretty cool.
Oh.
Just for
Best
you.
worst burnout.
Wow.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that you've been waiting for this.
Best worst
Well,
burnout.
obviously, I had to have it custom made. There was a lead time, you know. It wasn't just something I whipped up off the shelf.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I originally installed our new security system to keep an eye out for theft, big and small. Not necessarily to catch Fernando doing whatever that was, but that is a bonus. We deal with so many cars here at the shop that have been stolen in the past, so I wanted to take every precaution to make sure they don't get stolen while I own them, and that is why I went with Simply Safe. Simply Safe's comprehensive security for the whole home or shop with advanced cameras and
These
sensors to
ads,
detect threats, Fernando.
these ad placement is
Action
crazy.
your address 5 years. In the mood to tackle the install yourself? Somebody
Ad
recording a
placement
Simply
is
Safe.
crazy on this joint, bro. They knew what they was doing.
Which way? SimplySafe.com.
Get your bread, twin. Get your bread. What the fuck? Why is my internet like this? My internet is never like, what the fuck?
I don't want to talk about it. But it looks decent, right? You don't have to worry about how it looks outside because the important part here is
On the
now
inside.
we're going to have LSD.
Now, not only are we getting rid of this junk open differential that'll make the car prone to one-wheel peeling and generally just being unpredictable at speed in favor of an LSD, but this diff, it's also a lower ratio. This one, it's a 3.3. That one, it's a 3.5. Keep in mind, Nissan spec this gearing for a car that makes like 200 horsepower, so switching to this, it should allow us more time in gear instead of constantly shifting. Boom!
Adios.
Ain't dumb if it works, I guess.
Did you call him a monkey?
So last time, when
Did you
things
call
went
him a
south on us,
monkey?
we were running these guys for the front differential ear bushings. They're hard polyurethane. This time, we're not allowing any room for flex. We're switching to these solid aluminum mounts.
Okay. Dang.
I'll tell you, anybody who has something bad to say about Harbor Freight toolboxes, they work pretty good, honestly.
I think this is part of my axle, right?
Where did that come from?
Just from right here from the
Out of the spring perch? Nice. Nice work. You really did a number on this thing. As for our rear differential
he
mount, it's the
cooked that
same
shit.
deal. We're going full aluminum by Siki, no more polyurethane, no more rubber at all. So there's our little broken piece off.
Another part of the collection, right?
Yeah, we got a lot of scrap parts from this. The only damage we're left with on the subframe is this small part of the bushing housing sleeve that's broken off. It didn't seem to affect anything, so we're just gonna roll with it, hope for the best.
Hey, they know what they talking about. I ain't even gonna say nothing.
buttery smooth. There we go.
We're in the money now.
All right, if we had any concerns about the differential mounting threads on the subframe, this is going in so smooth, so good. It makes me feel a lot better.
Bro, what is up with the internet? What is up with my internet today, cuz? Yo, what? Hold on. Cause what, bro?
All right, our diff, it's in place, but it's not quite all we're gonna do to make sure this thing stays in place. And that is where this guy comes in. It's gonna mount to the differential via 2 of the cover bolts, and then Fernando is gonna slide another bolt through the rear subframe and into our brace. Why Nissan didn't do that from the factory, I have no idea, especially because there's a hole there that they could have used.
So
Don't
they
get me
cut
wrong,
corners.
there is no guarantee that this is actually gonna work, but at least I feel like we have a chance this time. Is that a drive shaft shop axle or
I mean,
G-force? Wait a minute.
What?
Wait. That's the AutoZone special, isn't it? That's
Rogue.
the $50 discount deal.
Relax. This is $68 from Rogue Auto, okay?
So I'm still at least somewhat convinced
Yo.
that the axle broke because of the differential failure and not the other way around. So we don't really know what these axles can take. I mean, we're gonna find out.
Exactly. Soon.
Next up on the reassembly list, our drive shaft. We sent this thing up to the drive shaft shop. They said it had a small bow in it, but they were able to fix it. For $125, we're back in business.
Okay.
And
125,
when they
not bad.
balanced it, it turns out it didn't need this weight back here in the back anyway. So maybe it fell off, maybe it didn't. I don't know. Last but not least, the final piece of the puzzle here, the exhaust. We get this right, we'll be back on the road. On the driver's side, it should be easy. It's just a straight section of pipe. I'll hack it there, hack it about here, and just replace this with another 3-inch straight pipe section. On the passenger side, this is where it's gonna be a little more tricky, but I do think I have a plan for this. I'm not saying it's a good plan, but it is a plan. After all, I've been in here all morning practicing. Now we just got to do it on the piece that counts. Now that we got our bad section of pipe cut out, we can lay this over our new tubing and use that to get ourselves a perfect direct fit section we can weld in and be on our way. I'm feeling real confident on the driver's side. Now for the tricky part.
Yeah,
The
let me see
plan
how
I've
you gonna do
cooked
this.
up here, this end piece, it should be a straight piece of pipe. I'm thinking we'll just hack that off right about there. That way we have a good piece of tubing and our V-band flange. And on the other side, we're gonna hack it right at this weld. Now I know the curve section here is bent, it's crushed down this way, but it's not bent in the same way this is bent. So I'm thinking that we might be able to hack this off and squeeze these back into place. How hard this exhaust repair is going to be pretty much comes down to this moment. If this cooperates, we're golden.
Ain't squeezing too hard.
Kind of looks like it is. Yeah, the
I'm
other
not
side
gonna
of
lie, I
this
see the
is if we
vision,
just
though.
break all the existing welds from doing this. See if I release, does it go back or is it still somewhat?
Flex a little bit.
Okay, we got a little more work to do. Well, I'm not going to call it perfect, especially compared to a piece of straight tubing, but we are close. There's a piece we have to bend out, a piece
I see the vision. I like the vision.
we
I
have to
see it.
tap down, and then on the fit up side of things, there is a lot of work we have to do, but we're close enough that I think we can call this idea a win. Well, we're back in one piece. Now we just have to hope it still fits.
Right.
Well, the driver's side fit up is beautiful, but this isn't the one that counts. We can always make one fit, making two fits the hard part. And yes, don't worry, we'll correct our position of this once we know it all fits. It does fit. It was a two-person job to get it seated. We had to massage the muffler a little bit, but I think we're pretty much golden. Trust me, I'm just as surprised as you guys are, but this actually turned out quite nice. Nothing's rubbing, there's nothing weird going on. I know in the grand scheme of things, this is a really minor exhaust repair, but it's always nice to come up with a plan like this, execute it, and actually have it work. Now, the only remnants of this thing being all jacked up, other than the one section of pipe that doesn't quite match, is the exhaust hangers. They dented in the canister a little bit, they don't fit perfectly, and if you look from certain angles, the exhaust isn't quite a perfect match side to side. That is a problem for another day, because we got somewhere to be. Is it hot in there?
Not really.
You're fogged up. What's that?
I like it.
Turn the defrosters
This is
on.
hard though.
Well, we figure what better place to come test the Hellcat Swap Z out for the very first time than an empty parking lot that they also happen to use for drift events.
That's hard, bro.
You know what DK stands for?
Donkey Kong. Drift King.
By the way, look at the signature.
That's fitting.
Let me see you get bendy, bro. Yo. Oh, go back the other way. Yo. Yo.
What do you think?
It looks good. How's it feel?
It feels good.
How glad are you we switched
He
to
said, "Feels
LSD
good."
right now?
1,000%.
If you were here with an open diff, that would be not a
Suck.
good time.
Yes.
Not a good time. We just found out the hard way Dalt's car has an open diff.
Can you let us know your drift experience so far?
Anyway, we're gonna try this and see what happens. Take this junk. I'm all natural, all right? I don't need performance enhancers.
Uh-huh.
Let's see what you got. Okay. Okay.
It's flashing yellow at me. I think water temps are high.
Man, one single drift you already break it.
Literally, as soon as he got behind the wheel, already got lights.
Give me a broken car.
No, the car
Yes.
was perfectly drifting. I got video proof of that.
I think you overheated it.
No.
Coolant temperatures are like 240, and I didn't know there were fail-safes set up in this ECU. I'm assuming that's the case. Something on the dash keeps flashing yellow at me, and it just cuts all the power. So,
You destroyed my engine.
nice car, Fernando.
You destroyed
Great
my
car.
engine. Wow.
I mean, I don't want to start any crap between you guys, but it's pretty obvious to me Fernando's just the better drifter.
Probably detuned it, right?
What?
You got in there, started tapping on the keyboards. Yeah, I
Not
know
even
what happened.
possible.
I know
no.
what you did. This is the kind of stuff that really interests me about building cars. We've always built street cars, even drag cars, but something like this, we need to build it completely different to manage the heat when the intercooler's not getting any air to it. It's just a different way of thinking, and if we ever build a true drift car, it's something we're definitely gonna have to take into account.
Alright.
In first gear, it works okay. It slides much better in second when it'll actually slide. But first gear, at least I was able to have a little fun in it.
It's not that bad. It's actually way louder in the back than I thought.
I do find it kind of funny that we brought two Dodge-powered Nissans here. One of them is a great drift car, has a LSD, has all the power you could ever need, but then it overheats very quickly. And the other one, I think we could beat on this thing all day, don't you?
Yes.
This thing made a ton of power. If you want to know exactly how much power it made, gotta watch Austin's video on it tomorrow. It
Yo,
is
what?
dead
I might
nuts
have to watch
reliable
this.
from what I can see. It just has an open differential, so that's its own issue. Hey, the car survived its first official outing. We put a hurtin' on these tires though, which I suppose is good timing because we've got a new set of sticky tires here to throw on the thing to make sure it can actually hook. And one other thing that got a hurting put on it, your wallet. I should also mention, this one is 100% thanks to you guys. Feels like Christmas, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
What's in there? What's in there? Talk to me.
Ooh, we didn't mention this. So, you guys convinced me about the cam. I have to convince myself to do this. Because we're gonna open it. The whole front end has to be cut apart. Why not, right?
You can't just do a cam. I mean,
Exactly,
if
right?
we're in there anyway,
Yeah.
you might as well stick a small pulley on it, make a little more boost. I mean, why not? This is the
You got
shaft
it.
you've been looking
Great.
for. There we go.
It's a cam, not a shaft.
It
Well,
is.
can shaft, but just leave it on cam.
For those of you guys who followed my Demon truck build, this is the same exact Titan 2 camshaft
Demon
for
truck.
Flying Ryan Performance that I put in that. It worked great there, made a ton of power. Figure why not do it to
These niggas are coming up with some crazy shit. Cuz said a demon truck? Yo, do they just go to sleep and just be sitting on these ideas, cuz?
the Z. And I suppose now we should just rip this thing apart and get started.
Let's do it. By the way, it's something else that the Nissan made. This is a 313, which is really, really hard to find.
No, they're called S13s.
No.
Falling hard every day like I'm on the Maverick. Talking about wordplay, but I'm about to action. Get the cash every day, it's coming out of bagging. Feel like a heavyweight, move the key any day. Feeling like bombs up while I'm rapping off the cables. I mean, on the cart, slide on your block with a go-kart. No key needed, only push start.